Hi, this is Mr. Cardoso, and I'm back from popular demand. In this video, we are going to be talking about the while loop in Java. And so we've set up a little program here already. This program is going to prompt the user for a radius of a circle, and then we'll calculate the circumference and the area of the circle based on the formula. Area equals pi r squared, and the circumference equals 2 pi r. We will then do this repeatedly using a loop until a negative radius is entered. So right now the program is already done. It's working. So here we get the inputs. We ask the user to enter the radius of a circle. We read that into a double. We then calculate using math.pi times radius, which is radius squared. We calculate the circumference, which is 2 times pi times the radius, 2 pi r. And then we output that. So the circle radius here, and the area and the circumference. These /t's are just tabs to space out our output. So I run the program just to prove that to you. I hit the run button up here, and now it says please enter the radius of a circle. So I can enter 10. Let's say the radius is 10, and that's an easy one to calculate, so we can check it. The radius is 10, the area is 314, which is 10 squared is 100 times pi, which is 3.14. So that makes sense, and this is the circle circumference. So that's all fine and good, but let's say we wanted to do a whole bunch of these in a row. Every time that we wanted to calculate the area and the circumference, we keep having to hit run up here again, just to run it again. So now I want to do it for 5, and I do that, and I record the information, but I have to hit run again to run it again. So this can be a little bit annoying. And that's why the computer and the Java and most programming languages have a while loop structure. So loop structures allow you to do repetitive tasks like this, like running the program over and over and over again, giving the user the option to exit when they want to. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here, and we're actually going to put all of our code here in a while loop. So I'm just going to write while up here and open bracket. Now, the while loop means we say while some condition is true. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write while true in here. True is a Boolean, obviously, and it's true is always true. So I'm going to open the while loop with the curly brackets. I'm going to select all of this because now that we're opening a structure, we must remember to indent everything that's the body of that structure inside that structure. So, and then I close the while loop. So here you can see the highlighting. It's showing me that everything inside the while loop, this is all the body of the while loop. So basically I'm just going to do everything over and over and over again, everything that's inside this while loop. So I'm going to hit compile up here. And now we're going to run it and see the difference. So it says please enter the radius of a circle. Now I can go 10. And it gives me the information, and now it asks me to do it again. So it's basically going to do this again and again and again forever. So I can go 7 and 3 and 39, and it'll keep giving me all of the areas and the circumferences. So that's helpful if I'm doing some math homework. I can calculate the area and the circumference really quickly. But you will notice there's no way to actually exit the program. If I'm the user, I'm stuck right now. If I'm the user using this program, I'm not going to have necessarily these buttons up here. I'm not going to have any way to exit. And you can see it's sort of like in a state of not responding or an infinite loop. There's no way to actually exit this program. So I'm going to hit the compile button up here just to stop it. But that's a little bit of a problem. We don't want to have infinite loops. And you can see this is going to loop while true, which means true is always true, so it's always going to loop forever. This is the break condition. So that's got to eventually turn false in order for you to exit the loop. So what we're going to do is we're going to say something like while the radius is greater than or equal to 0. So we know that the radius of a circle can't be negative. So we're going to say while the radius is greater than or equal to 0, we're going to keep doing this. So all the user has to do is then enter a negative number to exit the program. But if I go to compile it right now, there's a little bit of a problem. The problem is it doesn't know what radius is. Oh yeah, look at that. We actually created the radius down here. So, and we've given it a value down here. So that's a little bit of an issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that input section and put it before the while loop. So it happens once before the while loop. So now we know, and I'm unindenting that because it's not inside the while loop anymore. So now we ask, please enter the radius of a circle. We get that information. Now we know what the radius is if it's, so let's try that. So if I try that, that compiles now, because now it knows what the radius is. I run it. It says, please enter the radius of a circle, so I put in 10. And we have an infinite loop again. So what's going on? Let's compile this to stop it. You can see it just keep going forever. We get the radius back in to our double variable, and we put in 10 here. So 10 is greater than or equal to 0. So it goes inside, it calculates the area and circumference for 10. It outputs that. But the problem is then it gets to the end of this, and it goes back around, and radius is still 10. Radius is not changing inside the loop. So we do have a break condition now, but we have no what we call increment. We need to have an increment for this loop, something that changes radius so that our break condition can eventually turn false. So in this case, we actually are not even, it's not working the way it was before when we had that other infinite loop. We want to, in fact, ask the user as well to please enter that information again. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to leave it up here because I need that for the initial condition, but I'm going to take this input and put it back down at the bottom of the loop. So I'm just going to come down here and stick that right here. And of course, don't forget to properly indent. You can always Control A and press Tab and it'll indent it for you. So now, this one here, this little bracket ends the while loop. And just for, so that we can, for reference, I'm going to put another system.out, and I'm going to say thanks, I'm having trouble typing here, thanks for using this program. So we can see that we actually get to the end of the program. This is outside of the while loop. So outside of the loop. So we're going to run this program now. It asks for the radius. We put in whatever, like 10. 10 is greater than 0. It calculates it. Then it outputs that information. And then it asks for a new information. So please enter the radius of a circle again. And now we go back around. So again, now they have the opportunity to put in a negative. I don't need to declare radius again because we already declared it up here. So I'm going to take that double out. And the other thing you can do is also communicate to your user how you expect them to exit. So please enter the radius of a circle, enter a negative to exit. So without that communication, the user wouldn't know how to exit the program. So I'm going to put that down there as well. And now if we compile that and we run, and let's just scroll up a little bit here. Now it says, please enter the radius of a circle, so we can go 10. And now it's asking us again because of these two lines of code. Before it loops back and decides whether or not it should do it again, it asks for input again. So we have to change this variable to match this so that that could eventually become false and break out of the loop. So I can do it for 5, I can do it for 3, I can do it for 100. And then if I'm tired and I don't want to do this anymore, I can enter a -4 or any negative number, and it should exit, and it gets down here to thanks for using the program, enter a negative to exit. And you can see now the program is finished as indicated by this little symbol here. So the program is done, and we successfully ended the loop. So we need to have 3 parts of the while loop. Okay, so we need to initialize our variable, our loop variable. So radius in this case is our loop variable, and that's the one that's going to allow us to exit. So we're going to continue doing this while the radius is greater than or equal to 0. We calculate. These are all of our actions to be repeated, so that's the second part of the loop. And then we need to change or increment that variable somehow. Increment doesn't necessarily mean increasing by 1. In this case, increment is getting a new radius from the user and allowing them to enter a negative to eventually break out of this loop. Because we don't know how many times this loop will run, it might run 10 times, it might run 100 times, it might run 3 times. If they enter a negative number right away, it won't run at all. So this is why this is sometimes called, the while loop is sometimes called a conditional loop. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that lesson. In the next one, we will talk about for loops.